Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for the handsome and charming Roberto Valenzuela. I hope that was good. I hope that was good.
I paid him $20.
Yes.
To say that I did not need Photoshop. You get the pun, right? It's a joke because it's a Photoshop class. I'm a photographer, not a comedian. Obviously, right? So anyway, we're pumped, people. We are pumped. Who's pumped here? Yeah. Who hates retouching? Actually, I do. I do. I hate retouching. I based my entire career on not retouching. You know, which is funny that I'm here right now, because this is a retouching stage. No, I don't hate retouching, but I did dedicate my entire career to not having the need to retouch. Does that make sense? The reason why I got good as a photographer was, one, I was broke, so I couldn't afford $10 million of equipment, which meant I had to focus on the stuff I did have and master it. And number two, when I was doing the photoshopping, it was taking so much time that I gained like 50 pounds. Because when you Photoshop, you drink wine, clearly. And when you drink wine, you need something salty, so you get some Lay's, Kettle, the Kettle chips, not the thin ones, but the thicker oil. And you're just munching on the salties and then balancing it with the wine, and then you munch it, and then you're like, next thing you know, a year passes, and your wife is like, what is happening? And I was like, they're retouching. That's what's happening. So two things happened to my retouching. One, my hatred for it grew and grew. And then finally AI came and it solved everything. I'm just kidding, no. Thank you, everyone. No, thank you for coming. You push a button, you push the sliders, and you are out of here. No, but I remember I started doing tests with my clients, you know, so I would Photoshop their portraits, and I would spend, I don't know, an hour per picture or something. It was something ridiculous like that. And after an hour, I would go and give it to the client, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like this of excitement because she was going to love it. And what did she say? Thank you. Thank you. Look, nice. Nice. I was like, dude, I wasn't getting any love. And then I decided, you know what? No one cares, so I'm going to spend 10 minutes Photoshopping a photo, or 20 instead of an hour. And then I would give it to the client, and what did the client say? Thank you. But they still paid the same. I mean, to some extent, right? You're not going to leave zits and stuff, right? I'm saying, you know. And then, long story short, it kept going until I said, I don't want to retouch anything. I'm just going to do the photos. I'm going to do them really well. And I'm going to basically just do raw editing and then send the photos out, right? But then I got into beauty photography. Ooh, big mistake if you don't like editing. Big mistake. In the fashion world, retouching is not greatly looked upon. You do retouch, but you don't want the retouching to be so good on the face that the clothing becomes secondary. So the designers, or my clients, they say to me, I want the focus on the dress, I want the retouching on the clothing, and you can retouch the face just like 1%. And that's what they would say. The problem is that once I would give them those photos, exactly how they wanted, then they would say to me, oh, you think she can look a little bit less like she just woke up? I was like, dude, I seriously cannot win with you people. Like, okay, you want her retouched or not? So it became little by little. So I started, for years I've been doing the retouching, and I know that people talk about different things and different styles, and then there's the frequency separations and the separations of marriages because of retouching. And there is all kinds of separations happening. And the only separation I wanted to do was a Photoshop filter that I'm going to ask you, and I've been hunting down the best retouching possible that gives me the quickest access to that retouching. I want to start that image and finish it in 2 minutes. It needs to look like I spent an hour. And if I spend more than 2 minutes, then this is not the right retouching for me. But it has to be the best. How do you know it's the best? I send it to the best retouchers in the world. I send it to some of the very best ones, which are all my friends. I said, Here's a photo. I had a master retouch it. Of course, I was talking about myself, but they didn't know that because I didn't want them to be to be like jinked, whatever. What do you call it? I didn't want them jaded. So I was like, they're like, oh, who did it? Shh, shh, no one. Just look at it. Tell me if they did a great job. And they looked at it, and they're like, it's like a 3 out of 10. I was like, who did this? I was like, oh, it was that other person over there. Months went by. I kept looking, and I kept looking. I kept experimenting because there was a need for this. And finally, to not bore you with the story, that this happened about 10 times. The 10th, 11th, 12th time, whatever it happened, I sent it to my friends, and my friends said, this is impeccable. Like, it is impeccable. And they were like, who did this? I was like, we'll never know. We will never know. But the image took me about 2 minutes to retouch, and it doesn't do any AI, okay? And you can even do an action for it, and you can create an action and just alter it. It takes a little bit of altering the image because different resolutions and whatnot, but once you get it, you'll never go back. Shall we start? Yes. Who likes cooking? Not really. Who likes eating the food but not cooking? Okay, who likes doing the dishes? Okay. Who likes plating? Plating the food, making it look nice? Okay. Plating is for food, what retouching is for photos. But you have to have the right raw materials. You have to have the best raw materials. I don't put the photo in Photoshop until it's really, really top notch, and then it goes into Photoshop. I want to basically cook my chili with the best ingredients possible, and once these beautiful ingredients come to life, then I want to plate it as good as it should taste. Does that make sense? And that's the retouching side. Now, I'm not going to spend 2 minutes doing this because I want to teach you the process, but if you want, after I'm done, I can shut it down, don't save it, and I can do the whole thing with another photo, and I can do it in less than 2 minutes. You guys want to do that? Yeah. Okay. So you're about to experience the retouch that basically was told to me. It was impeccable, and it was perfect, and it was awesome, and I loved it. And no, it doesn't require frequency separation. I have a love-hate relationship with frequency separation, mostly hate. By mostly, I mean 100%. Does that make sense? I didn't like the frequency stuff. I don't like separating the color layer with the texture layer and messing with each other. It starts to make the edges of the hairs look weird, and I'm like, wow, this is not 2 minutes. So all this frequency stuff, which I think it looks great if you have the time, I don't want to eat potato chips anymore. So my goal was no frequency separation. Sounds good? Oh, and second thing, no frequency separation, but image has to look better than frequency separation. No big deal. All right, this is Capture One. Who uses Capture One in this room? No one? Great. It's a good start. Capture One is, wait, who uses Lightroom? Can I ask you why? You love it? No, I have no beef. I have no beef with the room of light. I have no room. It's just, this is like crazy good. So you notice her hands and stuff are in different places here, but photo similar. Okay, let me start with this one, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. First, this is the original picture. Okay, do you guys recognize who this person is? She's a major celebrity in the whole world. Do you know who she is? Nobody knows her? Maybe she's not as big as I thought she was. Should I tell her nobody knew who she was? This is Miss Universe. Yeah, this is Miss Universe. That's just how I roll. It's another Tuesday for me. It's a Tuesday for me. What are you doing? Nothing. I'm waking up, having some breakfast, having lunch with Miss Universe, going home, cooking chili, whatever. Okay. All right. First thing I do is when you take a photo, this is something Lightroom doesn't really do that well. I'm not saying anything about Lightroom. I'm just saying it doesn't do that. You see this little thing here called base characteristics? This thing here is a lifesaver to the, I want you to capitalize every letter in lifesaver, okay? Not just the L, but the whole thing. You go down to something called linear response. Now let me show you on a raw file. Okay, you see the shadow and the highlights and you see what they look like? Now go to this auto, and then you go to linear response. Look what it does to it. Okay, first look at the brightness of the white. Now look what it does to it. It makes it look flat. Why do I want to flatten it? You guys, when you guys watch video camera sales and stuff, you know how they always talk about, this camera shoots in the flattest profile ever. I'm like, who wants that? And then I realized that's what you actually want. Flat profiles are profiles that remove all the contrast and all the stuff that the computers put in the photos when you take it. When the computer puts profiles in your photos, the sky looks super blue and it looks bright and the person looks contrasty, and that's fine if you just want to give the photos to your kid, but if you're trying to retouch for like Dolce & Gabbana, you're not doing that, okay? You're not doing that. So what you want to do is you want to remove all contrast. So here's the photo, no contrast. That's a good start. Second is you got to remove the brightness levels a little bit. Now in this case, I don't need to remove the brightness levels because she's actually not that bright in the face. But if I was to do this picture with these brightness levels like this is still okay, but I like to start with the skin a little bit darker, okay? So let's begin like that. So first thing I do is you go to curve and you go to linear response, this flattening. Now it's so flat that now when you go to brightness, do not change the exposure, big mistake. The exposure brings all the values, bright and shadow values goes up uniformly. What you want is to go to brightness, which focuses on the midtones, and you're going to go up, and look how much better, look how beautiful this looks. Now if you look at the hair, now you can actually see the hair detail. Okay, you notice even the back of the hair has the hair detail? Now look what happens if you don't do it this way. Look if you go to like another one. Look how contrasty that looks. Now look at the linear response. Okay, look carefully. Linear response with brightness up and film with a higher contrast. Look at the way that looks, okay? Why give yourself more work in Photoshop? So we're gonna go back to linear response. Let me ask you the first question. Does this look decent to you, exposure-wise and everything? If you start with a photo, wait, I'm sure the answer is Lightroom cannot do this, but can Lightroom do this? No, exactly. Where's the microphone? I'm kidding, I love Adobe. I just don't use Lightroom. Okay. The advantages of working on Capture One, and we're gonna go to Photoshop later where the magic will happen, but the advantages of working on Capture One is that you're not working on just the thin, weak pixels. You're working with the raw image. So it can take a much bigger hit, okay? Imagine Mike Tyson fighting a high school cross-country runner. That's what happens when you open up the photo in Photoshop. You get Mike Tyson and he knocks out the file real quick and the file gets damaged. How do you know the file is damaged? Not because you look at it on the screen. It will not say I'm damaged. It's when you print it. When you print a photo, the damage will come through. If you want to know how good your retouching is or your photography is, print your pictures. They will reveal how bad or good you actually are. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna start with this, and we're gonna knock it down from 45 to 40. Okay, I want it to be just a little bit darker. I'm going to, this is the cool part. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit more to about 30. Now, the cool part begins. Capture One has intelligent masking that can go from one photo to the next without you having to remask every single time, which is another lifesaver. For example, here I'm gonna go to people, and then I'm gonna go, I want you to give me an intelligent and adaptable, keyword adaptable, mask on the face only so I can start making the face look really good. So here's the face, and I say create mask. And if you see, it even labels it for you because Capture One assumes you're lazy, and they would be right. I don't want to have to type face skin mask. It did it for you to encourage laziness in the photo industry. Okay? Now, if you push the letter M, look what it does. It creates the perfect mask. Okay? Now, that mask is too harsh. If you look at the edges here, that's not going to work. So what you do is you go to the layer layers and you go to refine the mask and you push it all the way to 300. I usually go to 250 or 300. Let's go to 299 just to be cool. Nobody ever chooses 299. I'm probably the first person in the world to choose 299. So congratulations to me, nobody cares. Okay, and you see how it softened the edges of all of this. You see that? Now, because he feathered the pixel so much, it obviously added it to the eye. So we're just going to quickly get this and remove it out like that. Okay, now watch this. This is what's cool. I'm going to push M, so now you don't see the mask, okay? But look at this. Now when I push the brightness levels up, it affects just that part, right? But it makes it look good. Okay? Now watch this. If you're doing another photo, like let's say you're doing this one, let's see. Let's say you're doing this one. Say you're doing that one. Okay, watch this. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on the copy. And what's cool is that it's not only going to copy all the things I did, but it's going to copy the mask no matter how much her face moved. So I'm going to go to the photo here. Maybe this one. And I'm going to paste. And look what happens. Look, it created a face mask. And look, it did it perfectly. Even though it is a completely different image than this. Look at that. It totally killed it. Is this cool? You know why that's cool? Because you could just have to do the mask once, and you don't even have to do it. The AI will do it. And then you just say copy and paste it across your entire shoot, and it will always find the person's face, and it will always mask it. So it's pretty cool. And not only did it apply the mask, but look, it also applied the little holes on the eyes that I made. Is that cool? Who likes Capture One now? One more person. Okay. I do not work for Capture One. All right, we're going to go to people, and I'm going to say, let's go to this one. I'm going to go copy and paste. Okay, watch this. This is super cool. I'm going to, even though this is a wide angle image, I'm going to paste it. And look, face skin mask already done. Okay, I'm going to refine this. Let's just go to 300, not to be silly. Okay, and watch this. I now can go to people, and I can say, give me body skin. That sounds really weird, you know what I mean? And then create mask. And then go to this, and then refine it so the edges are not so hard. Refine mask. There we go. Okay. Now click on M to remove the mask. And now from here, you can start to adjust how toned her arms are going to look. So you bring the brightness down, you bring the contrast up, and once the contrast is way up, you start bringing the brightness to be able to bring that muscle definition into it. Okay? But without it, it looks like this. Look. Look at this. This is before. This is after. Before and after. Okay? Now watch. Last thing I'm going to do is this one just has a white background. So I'm going to go to the whites here. But I'm going to click on the background layer image, and then I'm going to bring the whites up in order to get that white out of there. You see how it just affects the whites? Look, her skin never got touched. Okay? So now look at the difference. Before, look at all the wrinkles in the material. After, before, after. Okay? All right. Now what I'm going to do is click on her face skin, and I'm going to increase the contrast. Right now it's at 0, it's a little flat. I'm going to increase the contrast to about 10. The brightness level is going to go to about 10. So it's gonna look like that. Okay. One cool thing about Capture One is that when you change the white and the black values, it's smart enough to stop you from your own craziness. So if you try to take it too far, the program will stop you because it's looking out for you. You know what I mean? It's saying, you don't know what you're doing, let me help you. Okay? The next thing I do is, if you want to remember, all this has to only be done once. Okay? You go to the color editor. The color editor is probably one of the most powerful tools in the photo world, and it only exists in Capture One. And that's not a joke, it is super powerful. You go to skin tone. I'm gonna go to her image, I'm gonna go to the entire image. I don't wanna mask the entire image, and I'm gonna go to a midpoint. So it's gonna go, don't do the highlight, do a midpoint, something like this, okay? It's gonna give you this little tool right here, okay? From here, because I want to expand on the pixels that it's going to choose, I'm going to expand it just a little bit here, just a little bit there, and I'm going to increase the saturation just a little bit. So now it's picking all the pixel plus extra saturated pixels and so forth. Now, what am I doing? This is what you do if you're a beauty photographer. You live in this tool if you're a beauty photographer, because when you go to Walgreens and you see those girls with the makeup going like this, I took those. And they have to look really good. And this is where you spend all your time. So I'm gonna do it quickly, but you grab the uniformity tool, which is pretty impressive. And beauty people don't like the face to have lots of colors. They don't want saturated cheekbones with not saturated jaw lines. You know what I'm saying? They want it to look more even, so then that people spend more time looking at the makeup, not looking at all the colors in her face. So then what you do is you go to lightness, saturation, and you basically uniform that. Look at her face. Look at the rosy cheekbones. Now look at how look, I'm at 100%, and he barely did anything. Can anybody tell me why he barely moved? It's stopping you from your own craziness. Because if you remove too much, it will start to look like a ghost, okay? So you're basically, I'm gonna bring it down to about 75. The hue, this is interesting. If you're doing beauty retouching for foundation, you don't touch the hue. If you're doing beauty retouching for the whole face and different types of makeup, you need to change the hue, okay? So the smoky eye makeup cannot affect the cheek makeup, it cannot affect the jaw makeup and all that. So you go to the hue, and you're going to just give it a little bit of color, and then you're going to, the lightness here is gonna make it all the same. It's gonna basically change the contrast of the brightness levels throughout the face. I'm not gonna do any of this. I'm actually gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna bring that to 0, okay? Okay, now I'm going to copy this and everything I did to it, and I'm gonna paste it on this. Okay, let me just do one more thing here. I want to change this to white. I'm going to change this to white. There we go. I want the blacks just a little bit because I want that hair detail there. Okay. All right. I'm going to take this into Photoshop now. Are we pretty happy with this? Can we head and take it to Photoshop now? Look, here's the skin. We're gonna make this look like incredible, okay? So we're gonna open this up, and you just go to Edit, right there from Capture One. You don't even have to export it or anything. You just, right from Capture One, you go to Edit. Oh, I forgot one thing, sorry. You cannot do this until you do Clarity. Bring Clarity down by about 10, 12. Bring Structure up by about 15. That's gonna give the skin better texture. You see that now? Okay. The haze, I'm not gonna mess with it too much. I didn't shoot this in a hazy environment, so I'm good. And then I'm gonna edit, right click, I'm gonna go to Edit Photoshop. And I'm gonna open it in a PSD file. You can choose PSD or TIFF or JPEG. Please do not choose JPEG if you're serious, if you're trying to do this well. You don't want Mike Tyson hitting a cross-country, let's call him a freshman year cross-country runner. You want to give this file a fighting chance. So now you have Mike Tyson against, I don't know, who's a weaker heavy boxer that's not as good, besides everyone. Okay, Evander Holyfield, you see? Oscar de la Hoya, okay. Okay, are we having fun? Who's sleeping? I cannot see you because it's like big light in my face. All right, guys, this is where the magic happens. This is where the hatred begins. Okay? This retouch you're about to see has been in my retouching kit for years. I have perfected it and perfected it and perfected it until it's the greatest retouch I have ever seen at the fastest possible way to do it. Are we pumped or are we not pumped? Okay, let's do this thing. The best thing about this retouch is you don't need any programmed effects. You don't have to buy anything from anyone. You just have to have Photoshop. And you can just install it, and you don't need any plugins. You don't need any AI, anything. You just open the program, and you start. So to begin, you copy the layer 2 times. Uno, dos. Okay? By doing that, if you mess up, you're not screwing the file. You're giving it a fighting chance, non-destructive, whatever the cool term is. You're going to remove the visibility layer from the top layer because you don't care for that. That's going to be a tool we're going to use to do the knockout punch at the end, okay? So imagine left hook, right hook, uppercut. That's going to be the top layer. Sounds good? Should I stop the boxing analogies? I feel like they're quite good, though. It's effective. We're going to go to layer number 1, just a middle layer here. And I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to go to noise. And we're going to go to median. Why median? Here's how median works. Here's my hand, here's a pixel in the picture. When you click median, you're telling the median, grab this pixel, and you're going to tell it by the pixels here. You see how it says radius? On the radius, you're saying, grab the pixel that I choose, and then I want you to start expanding the radius of that pixel, but do not touch edges. And I want you to average out all the stuff in those radius of those pixels and average it out to the brightest pixel that is in that radius and turn it and average it to the median, which is why it's called the median. Okay? By averaging in terms of luminosity, in terms of brightness levels, you don't mess with edges. That is one of the keys to this retouch. You're not messing with the eyes or the nose holes. You're just doing the skin, okay? Now, if you go too far, like if you go like this, can you see her face pretty well? That's not gonna work. You need to have this in between. If you go to this point, do you see any features? No. Some people look better this way. Okay? I just happen to not be one of them. Okay? So we're gonna go to about 50-ish. Sounds good? We need to blur it more. Let's go to 80. I'm going to go to 75. Does that sound good to you? Can you still see? You can still see her, right? So it's going to grab the pixel, then it's going to go to 75 pixels, and it's going to average. It's going to look at the brightness. The brightest one is going to average it out into brightness levels, and it's going to give you a median. Now we're gonna add a new layer. We're gonna push Shift-Command-N, and we're going to click on the blending mode. We're gonna switch that blending mode to overlay. And then the key to this is for you to create a 50% gray mask at the top, so then you can mess with it. You can do white or black, or you can just do an average of what you're doing. So I'm gonna fill out this 50% gray. If you don't click on this 50% gray thing, you're screwed. You might as well open the bag of chips. Now that looks nice and blurry, so it's perfect. Now we're gonna add noise to this, okay? So we're gonna go, let me make sure I'm not forgetting any steps here. Yeah, we're gonna go to filter, we're gonna go to noise, and we're gonna add noise in order to bring noise back to the blur. Okay, so I'm gonna add noise. Now, I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see. Can you zoom in? No, you can't. Okay. You want the noise to be pretty visible, but not overtake. Like, look at this. That is too much. Okay, so I'm going to do something like, I'm going to go to like, I'm going to go a little wild. I feel wild today. I'm going to go to 45. Now, if you don't push these things, you're not in good shape. It has to be uniform. It has to be uniform. It cannot be blurred. Look at that. You do not want that. And it has to be monochromatic. By clicking on the monochromatic, you remove the retouch from looking like you shot it at ISO 45 million. Does that make sense? So monochromatic just gives you the texture without ruining the high level of noise. You know what? You guys are a good crowd. I'm going to go to 50. I know. Don't even mention it. Okay? Just seriously. I probably shouldn't go to 50. I'll go to 46 just to kind of give you a little bit of give and take. Now we have the noise. Take a look at the noise. Does that look good? I like this class. This is good. The reason why I don't like frequency separation as much is because of this area here. When you print, remember everything about me has to do with the way the photo looks in print, not the way it looks in a screen. So you're talking, when you're here at this retouching class, you have to remember that you're talking to a photographer that's focusing on print. My photos go to magazines. They get printed in large portraits. You don't make any money in photography. You only make money on selling prints. It's the sale of your products, of the prints that you do that makes you the money as a photographer. I don't even charge sometimes for sessions anymore. People want to do a session or whatever, like a normal, I'm not talking about fashion, I'm just talking about a regular client. They're like, oh my God, how expensive are you? The other photographer was $2,000 for the session. Well, I'm $5 for the session. And they're like, $5, that's amazing. I'll hire you. And then the product sales are so good that they have 2 years to pay for everything they order. And the orders are substantial because I'm not pressuring them. Does that make sense? And they're emotional pictures. So yeah, it does a good job. This noise that you're seeing here, which is a little bit too much, I shouldn't have gone to 46 to satisfy you guys' demands. Okay? It allows you to, when you print, it will look like skin all over the face instead of looking like spots of blurriness. If you guys look at retouch in just a screen, you will see sharp upper cheekbones and then blurry cheek and then blurry upper forehead and then sharp bottom forehead. I'm like, dude, this looks terrible, right? So this noise is what is going to stop that. But the noise has to be applied on top. The Gaussian blur has to be applied on top. So right now we're going to go ahead and Gaussian blur this because it's a little bit too cray-cray. And I am cray-cray, but not like that. Filter, blur, and we're going to go to Gaussian blur. And we're going to blur it a little bit. So that's 2.0. I'm going to bring it down to about 1.2, just like my favorite lenses. Oh man, I went a little crazy on the noise. Okay, my final reveal is not going to be as good. Let's just try it. Let's go to 1.5 so you guys don't get angry. I could hear complaints. Okay, on the Gaussian blur. All right, we're done. Thank you. Now, thank you. Thank you. You guys are, this is the best group ever. Can I do more retouching classes? All right, we're going to activate the top layer, and we're going to turn on the little eyeball so you can see it. Woo! Boo. Ooh, boo. We're going to combine those two things, okay? But not yet, not yet. So we're going to turn it on. So from this guy, we're going to go to Filter. We're going to go to Other, because nobody likes these ones. They just put them in the Other. And even though I said I don't like frequency separation, I'm going to do a little bit, but I'm going to do it my way, which is high-pass filter is a substitute for frequency separation. So if you do not want to do the whole color and texture and all that and mess with and have the 25 layers and you look like super cool, but you're eating too many chips. So if you want to do like an alternative to frequency separation and do it fast, go to Filter, Other, and choose High Pass instead. Sounds good to you guys? High Pass. Now here's where the secret comes in. High Pass is basically another way and a much better way of sharpening, much better than any kind of sharpening filter. So if you try to do unsharp mask or sharpen more, it's going to sharpen things equally. This one is going to leave the skin more alone, and it's going to sharpen the eyes, the lips, and all the edges a little bit better. So it's a better choice. So high pass filter, this is too much contrast. Look at that. We're going to bring it down to about yay. I'm going to give you a 6.5 to satisfy everyone in the audience. I was getting too excited. I'm going to go to 6.0. Too excited. Sometimes it's just too much to handle, you know? The anticipation of this is so crazy. Then you click OK. Now, it looks pretty good. Look at the way this looks. You have the blurry one and the gray one. It's perfect. Now you have a choice to make. You can do overlay, you can do linear light. You need to apply a blending mode. Whatever blending mode you choose, you can do screen. I would not recommend that one. It will be too bright. Soft light, the effect will not be as strong. You want it to be more punchy. So I choose linear light. OK? So you go to layers, and you go to linear light. There you go, linear light. And if you did it right, it looks like this, which is absolutely perfect for, for printing, OK? For printing. You notice as I go around the photo, you notice how there's texture all over the face? That's why it's good for printing. When you print this in paper that kind of hides detail, this adds the detail that the print loses. Does that make sense? OK. So now what we're going to do is we're going to group all these guys together. So it's a linear light. We're going to group the top 3 layers. We're going to do Command-G, and it's going to be a group. Now, what you're about to witness is the coolest thing ever, which is called Blend If. You guys have heard of that one? OK, literally the best thing ever invented in the history of the world after the wheel. OK? So I click on this, and then I made it into a group. So you can see that the group is made up of these layers. I'm going to make it into a group. I'm going to right-click on the group, and I'm going to go to Blending Options. Now pay attention, because this is what part that you really want to do right. Let me cancel this real quick. This is the bottom layer. The bottom layer has the actual skin. The top group has all the crap we did to it. OK? We want the effect to be applied only in the skin, only in the midtones, not in the eyes. Because if you apply them to the eyes, they look like that. And if you apply it to the mouth, it looks like she hasn't brushed her teeth in a long time. Okay? I just want this little crazy effect on the skin, and the skin is not bright or dark. It's what? It's the midtone. So how do you tell the computer, oh, I want you to apply these incredible group effects that I did with the median and the noise and the blur and all this, but only to the skin tones? You use which one? Blend if. So you go to blend if it's the midtone. Do not blend if it's too dark, basically. So go to group 1, go to blending options. Now you have, at the bottom here, you have current layer, and you have underlying layer. We want to tell Photoshop, I want you to grab the tones of the underlying layer and ignore the top layer. I just want you to look at the underlying layer and then take away anything that's dark, take away anything that's bright, and leave the skin alone. So here is my underlying layer. I'm gonna push my key Alt, and in Alt, look, if I drag this, look what happens to the effect. Look at it. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. Okay? Look what happens to the highlights. Ooh. Ooh. Now look what happens if you split it. You basically blend, and you blend the effect. So if I don't do this and I just go like that, do you see how the nose hole looks really sharp? That's because there's no blending. So you gotta bring this back. It's like Photoshop got too excited, you know? It's like, settle down. Settle down. So you grab Alt and you push the right thing. So you split those little triangles. You see those little triangles there? You split the right one, and now the more you separate this right one from the left one, so they're basically siblings, okay? You're separating them at birth, okay? When they're separating, look what happens. Look how soft the skin starts to look. Look, I'm gonna go to about, yay. I'm trying to approach the midtones, okay? Now I'm gonna grab the right one, the highlights. I'm gonna say if it's too bright, don't apply the blend. So only apply, so look, it starts to look like this. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit. Do you like the way the nose hole looks now? And what about the eyes? Do they look better? Okay. Now click OK. By the way, this is tricky because depending on what camera you're shooting with and what lens you're shooting with, this little separating of the siblings, it actually becomes trial and error, okay? Sometimes you have to put them closer together, so you have to put them farther apart. It depends. I'm gonna click OK. I'm gonna click OK. Then now I have to mask it. So I wanna mask it to this. And we're gonna combine those two things, okay? So I'm gonna grab the mask, I'm gonna push Alt, and I'm gonna create a black mask. By pushing Alt, you make the mask black immediately. You don't have to invert the mask, so whatever. Okay? Then I'm gonna go to my brush tool, and I'm gonna click on white. Make sure it's pure white. Okay, here's the most important part. Your flow, your opacity, 100%. Your flow should be something around, let's go to 4. Then if you don't click on this guy, you're in trouble. This little dude right there makes it so as you're passing as you're creating painting on the mask, it builds on each stroke you're putting through. If you don't click on this, no matter how many times you run the brush through the mask, it will stay at the same point. So you gotta click on this guy. And now I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will give me 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, 4 powerful, like 4 punches with my analogy, okay? Now watch this, guys. Look what happens to her skin. Make sure you have a soft brush, obviously. You will start to see it. Look how beautiful that looks. Now watch. Before, blah, after. Before, blah, after. Does that look really, real good? Can I get a round of awesome applause for this, please? Come on. Okay, but let's not get too pumped. Let's finish it. You clapped prematurely. Who told you? Okay. Watch this, guys. Oh, you guys are just going to be like, what is happening right now? Of course, you should use a Wacom or a Zen Labs or whatever the competition is. Look at the skin. Look at the chin now. Look at that. Look at the cheek. Now look. Before, after. Before, after. The nose. You guys notice the top of the nose has blur? That's what I don't like in printing. All the way around. Remember, don't brush too much because every time you push in the brush, you're putting the filter more and more on top. Okay? Close to the hair is always a blurry area because it's further away from the lens. So you make sure you give it a little bit extra TLC. TLC stands for tender love and care. Ears. Neck. Guys, take a look at that. And now take a look at that. And now take a look at that. Take a look at this, and take a look at this. And this is pretty subtle. Like if I keep brushing, the effect will be more and more, okay? And then just to end, because I'm sure you guys want to get out of here. Did you guys have a good time in this? Thank you. Just to end real quick, I'm going to go a little faster, but you basically keep working on the mask. There's your mask. You keep clicking on the mask, okay? And then once you do all of that, which I think looks really good, you push Shift, Command, Option, E. Again, Shift, Command, Option, the letter E. And it creates a layer that has all the effects in it, okay? From here, create 2 transparent layers. This will be dodge. This will be burn. Burn. Okay. I don't know why I did that. And I'm going to push F. I'm going to push F. Now here's the, you go to dodge. Go to the brightest point in this photo, which is right around here. And it selected this pixel right there, this color range. What I want you to do is to avoid a problem that happens a lot in retouching. When you do dodge and burn, you start adding red and blues into your image. Please don't do that. So to fix it, do this. Choose your pixel, choose your white, and then go to up a little and to the left a little. So you go, here's your thing. You're going to go up a little, to the left a little. You're going to go right around there. And then click OK. Oh, sorry. When it comes to the hue, see the H? Click it and bring it down to like 12. Okay. Now go to burn. Click on this little guy right there. Click on this and go to the darkest area of the image, which is right here. And this time go down and to the right. Right there. Right there. Make sure you go to hue and bring it down to about 13 to avoid. Okay. Now you go to dodge. Go to your brush tool, and now this is dodge. So you're going to brighten areas. So you're going to go to flow, should be 3% or 2%. Let's go to 3. And I'm just going to do I'm going to do a little quick dodge. Look at the way that nose looks now. Look at that. Look at this dodge. Look at that before and after. Look at the difference it made. Okay, a little too much. There you go. I got a little too excited. There we go. I'm going to do a little bit here. I'm going to do a little bit here. I got it. I got it. Yeah. I'm going to do a little bit here where the highlights are. I'm going to do a little bit above the lip. Why? Because it makes the darker lip look darker, look better, okay? That's it. I'm gonna do a little bit here. I'm basically adding dimensionality, like before, after, before, after. Now I'm gonna go to burn, click on this to go to the dark colors. And here I'm gonna start darkening the eyebrows. A little bit under the eye, definitely more on the top to get that smokiness going. A little bit on the edge to thin the nose. See, it thinned it. A little bit on the upper lip. A little bit on the edges of the chin. And definitely a little bit on the jawline and in the neckline. Now watch this. Before, after. Before, after. And if you look at the whole thing at the same time, this was the original. And that's the final. And it looks really beautiful. Thank you. Guys, couple of things before you leave. If you could just give me 10 seconds real quick. I own a conference called the Photo Creators Conference. B&H is a major sponsor for it. Have you guys heard of it? Have you guys heard of the Photo Creators Conference? Look it up. It's the greatest boutique-style conference in the country. It's in a dude ranch. I'm going to give you a huge discount code right now because I want more people to come from New York. The discount code is Bild, like B&H Bild, Bild 500. If you go to photocreators.com and you register for 2026, there's no teachers yet. I'm still talking to the teachers and negotiating contracts, so the teachers are not there yet, but they're all top-notch because I choose them all. Once the teachers are chosen, you will see them on the website. Little by little, they'll populate. But the discount code will be Bild 500, and you will get a $500 discount. Wow. And you're going to fly to Tucson, Arizona for 3 days, and you're going to have all hands-on education with the best teachers in the world, with top agency models, with 300 horses, beautiful sunset, and incredible community in the evenings. I hope you guys come. Who's interested in that? That sounds fun to you guys? Nobody cares? Okay, great.
All right.
Nobody cares because you haven't been there. When you go there, you'll be like, this was mind-blowing, and that's the answer everyone gives me. The second one is, thank you guys. The second one is in September. I'm going to go ahead and launch my first workshop in 5 years. I'll do posing, and it's going to be at Peter Hurley Studio. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm going to post it there. It's Roberto_photo, and I'll post when the September posing workshop in New York City will be. Thank you, guys. I love you all, and I'll see you later.
Thanks very much, Roberto.